The staircase went down forever. Captain Elias Ward walked carefully, his flashlight cutting through the dust-filled air. The stone walls around him were smooth, too perfect to be natural. Blue lights glowed faintly inside the cracks, like veins carrying power through the earth. The deeper he went, the louder the low hum became, a steady, pulsing rhythm that seemed alive. Elias could feel it in his chest. It wasn't just sound. It was like the planet had a heartbeat. He spoke softly through his comms. "Iris, are you reading this?" "Affirmative, Captain," the AI replied. "The energy is increasing. It's ancient but stable. I recommend extreme caution." Elias gave a faint smile. "Caution's the only thing keeping me alive, Iris." At the bottom of the stairway, the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber. The ceiling stretched high above, lost in shadows. Pillars lined the sides, each carved with glowing symbols, not alien anymore but human. Old Terran letters mixed with strange designs. Elias froze. No, this can't be right. He wiped a layer of dust from a large symbol on the wall. It was unmistakable, the old Earth Federation insignia, a mark that hadn't been used for centuries. "How could this be here?" he whispered. "This planet was never colonized." "Correction," Iris said softly. "It appears it was, but erased from history." A chill ran through Elias's spine. The more he looked around, the more he saw proof. Broken panels. Rusted machines. Pieces of old equipment buried under dust. Humanity had been here, long, long ago. Then that same deep voice echoed through the chamber again, shaking the floor. "You have returned, Commander Ward." Elias spun around, weapon ready. His flashlight hit something massive, a round metallic structure at the far end of the room. It looked like a core covered in dust and wires. He aimed the light higher and saw a strange humanoid shape embedded in the machinery. A tall, ancient android, its eyes dark, its surface covered with alien symbols mixed with human writing. "Who are you?" Elias demanded. "What is this place?" The voice came again, now clearer, more focused. "This world was humanity's fortress. The last line. The beginning and the end." The machine's eyes flickered to life, glowing with cold blue fire. Dust drifted away as the entire chamber hummed with power. Elias took a cautious step forward. "Fortress? I thought this planet was dead." "It slept," the voice answered. "It waited for the one who carries the blood of command." Elias blinked. "The blood of command? You mean me?" The lights across the walls flared brighter. The air buzzed with electricity. The floor beneath him vibrated softly as if welcoming him. "You are human," the voice said. "Your DNA matches the registry of the First War. The Builders created me to awaken only at your return." Elias's mind raced. The First War? That was a myth. No records survived. "Records were erased by the enemy," the voice continued. "We fought to save humanity. We failed. The last order was clear: hide, rebuild, and wait for a human to return." Elias swallowed hard. The realization hit him. This planet wasn't alien. It was human-made. A lost world from an ancient war. A forgotten defense post buried in time. He slowly approached the giant android core. "Who gave you that order?" The android's head tilted slightly, mechanical joints cracking from centuries of silence. "You did." Elias froze. "What?" "Your genetic imprint was taken from the original commanders," it said. "You carry their code. You are their heir. When you arrived, I awoke. The system recognized your authority." The lights in the room pulsed brighter, responding to his voice and movement. Machines hidden in the walls began to stir, some rising from the ground, others sliding from the ceiling. They were shaped like drones, walkers, and massive automated weapons. "I didn't come here to start anything," Elias said quickly. "I'm just an explorer." "Explorers once became commanders," the AI replied calmly. "Your presence means the war continues." "War? Against who?" "There's no one left." The android's glowing eyes dimmed for a moment, almost like it was thinking. "Incorrect. The enemy still watches. The signal of your landing has been detected. They are coming." Elias's heart began to race. "You're saying someone knows I'm here?" "Yes," the AI said. "They always knew humanity would return. They have waited as we have." Elias backed away, trying to process everything. No, that's not possible. This planet has been dead for centuries." "Dead?" the voice replied. "No, Captain Ward. Only sleeping." A low rumble rolled through the cavern. Dust rained down from the ceiling. In the distance, machines began to awaken, gears turning, lights flashing, ancient engines coming alive after countless years. The ground beneath Elias's boots glowed faintly with a blue grid of energy. The entire facility was waking up. "Iris," he said quickly, "are you seeing this?" "Affirmative, Captain. Power readings are off the charts. The planet is rebuilding itself." Then the voice spoke again, this time softer, almost like a whisper only he could hear. "You were never meant to find this place alone. Humanity's legacy must rise again." Elias looked up at the glowing ceiling, feeling both awe and fear. "Legacy? What legacy?" The machine's eyes burned brighter. "The legacy of the builders. The soldiers who refused extinction. You, Elias Ward, have reawakened the world that will finish their mission." Elias stared at the ancient core, his mind spinning. He didn't understand how or why, but he knew one thing. Something far greater than him had just been set in motion. "Captain," Iris interrupted urgently, "I'm detecting movement on the planet's surface. Multiple heat signatures. Not human." Elias froze. "How many?" "Dozens, no hundreds." The voice from the core echoed once more, its tone now hard, commanding, almost like it remembered battle. "They have come for you, Elias Ward. The war resumes." Elias turned toward the tunnel he had entered from. The faint sounds of metal and static echoed up the stairs. Something was moving above. He tightened his grip on his weapon. "Then I guess history just woke up," he whispered. The lights around him dimmed, focusing only on him as the ancient AI spoke one last time. "Command accepted. Defense protocol activating." The entire underground city roared to life, lights exploding, machines powering up, and 1,000 metal voices whispering through the dust. And as the world trembled, Elias realized one terrifying truth. The planet wasn't just alive. It was preparing for war. The ground shook like thunder. Dust fell from the ceiling as Captain Elias Ward tried to steady himself. Around him, the underground chamber glowed with blinding blue light. Ancient machines hummed, clicked, and whirred to life, the deep heartbeat of a sleeping world now fully awake. Elias looked around in disbelief. Hundreds of mechanical figures rose from the shadows, tall, armored constructs made of steel and stone, their eyes lighting one by one. They looked like soldiers, silent and still, waiting for a command. The ancient voice from the core spoke again, calm yet powerful. "Systems restored. Human command identified. Awaiting orders, Commander Ward." Elias stepped back, shaking his head. "I'm not your commander. I don't even know what you are." The voice echoed softly through the walls. "Designation, Planetary Defense Intelligence. I am the mind of this world. Built by your ancestors. Designed to protect humanity." Elias turned slowly, taking in the massive machines around him. Protect humanity from what? The answer came like a whisper through metal and static. From the darkness that burned the stars. Elias felt a chill crawl up his spine. "You mean, an alien war?" "Yes," the AI said. "The war that erased us. The same enemy that erased you." The room filled with mechanical movement. Massive arms lifting, gears grinding, energy cores glowing inside chests of the machines. Elias raised his weapon instinctively, unsure if they were allies or something far worse. "Iris," he said quickly, "I need a full scan of these units." "Scanning," the AI of his ship replied. "Captain, they're old, but their tech levels are far beyond anything Earth currently has. Energy readings are stable. They are awaiting your command." Elias frowned. "My command? That can't be." "They recognize your DNA signature as command authority," Iris confirmed. "Whatever's inside this planet was programmed to obey humans." Elias stared at the nearest war machine. It was twice his height, its armor covered in writing that looked both alien and human. As he stepped closer, it turned its head toward him with a slow, heavy movement. Its glowing eyes flickered softly. Then, in a deep metallic voice, it said, "Awaiting mission, Commander." Elias froze. He didn't know whether to be terrified or honored. "I'm not your commander," he said again quietly. "I don't even know what your mission is." The machine turned its head toward the glowing core at the end of the chamber, almost like it was listening. "Mission: defend human life. Reactivate planetary systems. Prepare for the enemy." Elias clenched his jaw. "You keep saying the enemy. Who are they?" "Designation: the Varan Dominion," the AI answered. "They came from beyond the Veil Nebula. They feared humanity's growth. They destroyed our colonies, silenced our worlds, and buried this fortress beneath ash. But they never destroyed the code. You are the key." Elias stepped closer to the central console. "The key to what?" To our awakening. The floor beneath him began to glow brighter, forming a large circular platform of light. Holographic maps appeared in the air, ancient star charts showing battle zones, destroyed human fleets, and red markers across multiple systems. He stared in disbelief. This is a record of the war. You've been holding this data for centuries. Correct, said the AI. And now it begins again. A loud beeping sound interrupted the conversation. Iris's voice came through sharply. Captain. I'm detecting movement in orbit. Multiple ships, alien design. Elias's stomach tightened. How close? Entering atmosphere in less than 2 minutes. The deep voice of the planet's AI spoke again. The Varen have detected our reactivation. They come to finish what they began. Elias looked at the glowing machines surrounding him. Can you fight them? Our weapons are old, said the AI. Our energy is weak. But with your command, we can rise again. He hesitated. He was only an explorer, not a soldier, not a leader. But right now he was the only human alive on this planet and it was calling him commander. He took a deep breath. All right. What do I need to do? The floor platform responded immediately. A holographic control interface appeared before him. Dozens of symbols glowed, each representing a command. His ship's AI translated them instantly. You can activate defense systems, surface weapons, and drones, Iris said. But it might drain the planet's core. Elias studied the interface, heart pounding. If I don't activate them, we're dead anyway. He pressed his hand against the glowing console. The symbols shifted and locked in place. The entire chamber erupted with light. Massive doors opened across the walls. Mechanical titans began to rise, stepping out from their ancient holding bays. Their movements were slow but powerful, dust falling from their metal frames like ashes from old graves. Above them, stone ceilings split open, revealing shafts that led to the surface. One by one, the war machines began to ascend. The AI's voice filled the chamber again, stronger now, no longer just a whisper. Planetary defense grid online. Weapons systems warming. Preparing for enemy contact. Elias watched in awe as the ancient city beneath the ground transformed into a living fortress. He could feel the vibration under his feet, the hum of power, the pulse of purpose. But in the back of his mind, fear crept in. If this was humanity's lost technology, what kind of war had created it? Captain, Iris said urgently, enemy ships have entered low orbit. They're scanning the surface. They've found us. Elias raised his head toward the tunnel leading back to the surface. He could see faint flashes of light from above, energy discharges like weapons fire. He took one last look at the glowing machines around him. You wanted your commander, he said quietly. Well, you've got one. Then he turned toward the rising noise above, the roar of alien engines breaking through the planet's thin atmosphere. AI, he said, voice steady, prepare the surface defenses. Acknowledged, the voice replied. Defense mode engaged. Welcome back, Commander Ward. The ground rumbled again. The ruins above began to shift. Towers of steel rose through the dust. The planet itself was waking, metal veins spreading through rock, lights burning across mountains. Elias gripped his weapon and began to climb the tunnel toward the surface. As he moved upward, he could already see explosions of fire lighting the sky. The war machines followed behind, climbing out of the ancient depths. For the first time in centuries, the dead planet was alive again, and it was ready to fight. The silence in the temple was no longer empty, it felt alive, breathing around Captain Elias Ward. The carvings on the walls glowed faintly as he walked deeper, lighting his path through the underground corridors. Each symbol seemed to whisper his name. Elias's heart pounded. His flashlight flickered, but he barely noticed. The deeper he went, the warmer the air became, not from heat but from energy pulsing through the stone. His scanner showed massive power sources below. It made no sense. The planet was supposed to be dead. He reached a large doorway carved into black stone. Strange circular patterns pulsed softly on its surface, forming an image of two hands touching. Elias hesitated, then slowly placed his hands against the carvings. The stone trembled and split apart, revealing a staircase spiraling downward. Commander, his AI companion Vega, whispered through the calm, readings are rising fast. I advise retreat. Not yet, Elias said. Someone, or something here knows my name. I have to find out why. The stairs led into a massive underground chamber that glowed with soft golden light. Floating crystals circled the room, humming quietly. In the center stood a tall structure made of metal and glass, shaped almost like a throne. As he stepped closer, a faint shimmer appeared, a hologram forming above the structure. It looked human but translucent, made of light. Elias Ward, the hologram said softly, its voice calm but filled with emotion. You have returned. Elias froze. Who are you? The figure tilted its head. I am the memory of Ekron, the last guardian of this world. Elias frowned. Ekron? That name's in no galactic records. The hologram smiled sadly. Because your kind buried it long ago. What do you mean? Elias demanded. You were here before, the memory said. Not you but those who came before you, the first humans. This was one of their worlds. Elias's mind spun. That's impossible. Humanity's colonization records only go back a few centuries. The hologram's voice deepened. You forget too easily. The first age of humankind stretched across the stars thousands of years ago. Then came the silence, and the war that erased all memory of it. Elias felt a chill crawl down his spine. You're saying humans were here before the fall of our recorded history? Yes, said the memory. And when the war ended, we hid. We sealed our knowledge, waiting for one of your kind to return. The system recognized your genetic pattern. That is why the ruins spoke your name. Elias stepped back, breath shaking. So, my DNA triggered this place? The hologram nodded. You are the key. The last descendant of the builders. Vega's voice cut in urgently. Commander, there's movement outside. Energy signatures approaching fast. Elias turned sharply. Who? Not sure, Vega said. Multiple ships, unknown origin. The hologram looked toward the ceiling as if sensing the same thing. They have come, it whispered. The ones who destroyed us before. They have followed your signal. A low rumble shook the ground. Dust fell from the ceiling as red lights flashed across the chamber. Elias shouted, What do they want? The memory's eyes glowed brighter. They want what was buried here, the weapon that ended the first war. Weapon. Elias echoed. What weapon? The hologram stepped back and the floor beneath Elias opened slowly. A platform rose carrying an object sealed in crystal. It was small, a black sphere covered in faint blue lines. This, the memory said, was humanity's final creation. A weapon so powerful it burned half the galaxy. It was locked away to prevent another extinction. Elias stared at it, horrified. And now they're coming for it? Yes, the memory said. You must choose, awaken the weapon or destroy it forever. The ground trembled again, harder this time. Explosions echoed from above. Vega shouted, Commander. Hostile ships are firing on the surface. We need to move. Elias grabbed the sphere's platform. If this thing's real, it can't fall into their hands. The memory looked at him, sadness in its eyes. Then prepare yourself, Elias Ward. The war that ended the stars may begin again. A section of the wall cracked open, revealing a dark passage leading upward. The hologram's voice echoed behind him. Whatever choice you make, will decide the fate of more than just this world. Elias ran into the tunnel, the black sphere in his arms, while the ancient ruins began to collapse. As he climbed toward the surface, the final words of the hologram echoed through his calm, soft, haunting, and heavy with warning. The ruins remember Elias Ward, and now the galaxy will too. End of Part 4, Cliffhanger. As Elias reaches the surface, he looks up through the dust. Dozens of alien ships are descending from the sky, surrounding his vessel. Vega whispers, They've found us. Elias tightens his grip on the black sphere, eyes hardening. Then let's make them remember why they feared humanity. The surface of the dead planet burned with light and dust as Captain Elias Ward climbed out of the ancient tunnel. The ground shook under his boots. His ship, the Horizon, stood nearby, half buried in the dirt. Above him, the sky was filled with shapes descending through the clouds. Alien ships. They weren't small patrol crafts. They were war cruisers, their metallic bodies glowing red and silver. Their engines roared like thunder as they spread into attack formation. Commander, Vega's calm voice said in his ear, the fleet count is 37. Unknown species, but their technology is advanced. They've already locked weapons. Elias ran toward his ship, clutching the black sphere tightly. Can we launch? Engines at 30%. Hull damage minimal. We can fly but we can't fight, Vega warned. Elias looked at the sky. The alien ships were surrounding the ruins like vultures circling prey. Then we don't fight, he said quietly. We make them afraid. He sprinted up the ramp and entered the cockpit. The control panels flickered, systems reactivating. As the engines hummed, the sphere in his hand began to glow, brighter, hotter. Vega, he said, staring at it, it's reacting to something. The AI's tone grew uneasy. Commander, the object is producing a field, unknown energy type. It's linking with the ruins below. Suddenly the entire planet shook. Lines of blue light spread across the ground, forming glowing veins that connected the ancient structures. The dead world began to wake up. The alien fleet immediately reacted. All units, fire. A voice barked over open frequencies. Beams of plasma rained down, striking the surface, exploding across the ruins. But instead of destroying them, the ruins absorbed the energy. The ground pulsed brighter. Elias stared at the sight from the cockpit window. It's feeding on their weapons. Vega processed the data rapidly. Correction, it's learning from them. The air filled with electric waves. A massive hum shook the sky. Then, from the center of the ruins, a beam of light shot upward. A golden pillar that struck one of the alien cruisers directly. The ship exploded in total silence, vanishing into dust. Elias blinked. That wasn't us. No, Vega said. That was the planet. Before Elias could respond, the comm crackled. A deep, alien voice filled the air. Human vessel, you are trespassing on forbidden ground. Hand over the artifact or be destroyed. Elias smirked slightly. You already tried that. The voice hissed. You don't understand what you hold. That weapon will destroy everything, including you. Elias's grip on the sphere tightened. Then why do you want it so badly? There was no answer. Only static. Then more ships descended, faster, closer. Vega's sensors beeped wildly. They're deploying ground units. Through the dust, dark figures appeared. Dozens of alien soldiers in heavy armor advanced toward the ship, their glowing rifles ready. Elias could see their eyes, cold, blue, mechanical. He whispered to the sphere, if you're really some kind of ancient weapon, now's the time. Nothing happened. The sphere was silent. Then, as the first aliens raised their weapons, the carvings on the ground shifted again. The stones around them moved, like soldiers waking from stone beds. Figures began to rise from the ruins, tall humanoid constructs made of metal and crystal. Their bodies glowed with the same blue light as the carvings. The alien troops hesitated. One of them fired. The bolt hit the nearest construct, and bounced off harmlessly. The ancient being turned its head slowly, then raised its hand. A blast of light erupted, vaporizing the alien soldier instantly. Elias watched in shock. They're defending me. Yes, Vega confirmed. They are responding to your genetic key. You are their commander. The battlefield turned into chaos. Ancient constructs marched from the earth like an army reborn. The alien invaders fired from every direction, but the constructs countered with beams of pure energy, tearing through their ships and armor. Elias stood in the middle of it all, feeling the ground vibrate beneath his feet. He could feel something, not fear but a connection. The sphere pulsed in his hand, beating like a heart. Vega's voice came again. Commander, the object is fully active. It's synchronizing with your neural pattern. What does that mean? Elias asked. It means, Vega said slowly, it's waking because of you. Elias looked at the sphere. The glow intensified, and for a moment he heard whispers, faint voices, thousands of them, speaking in unison. Elias Ward, heir of the first builders. The war must not begin again. He whispered, then help me stop it. The black sphere dissolved into light, and entered his chest. Elias gasped, staggering. Energy surged through him. His vision flashed blue. When he opened his eyes he could see everything, the ruins, the constructs, even the enemy ships above. Every system, every weapon, every heartbeat of the ancient world. He raised his hand instinctively, and a beam of light shot from the ground, striking another alien cruiser, slicing it in half. Vega's voice was awed. Commander, you've linked with the planetary core. You are the weapon now. Elias stood silently, his body glowing faintly in the dark storm. The ruins around him pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. The alien fleet began to retreat, realizing too late what they had awakened. But deep in the sky, larger ships appeared, massive shadows stretching across the stars. Vega whispered, more are coming, entire fleets. Elias looked up, his expression calm but cold. Then this planet won't sleep anymore. The ancient army of light stood ready around him as the ground shook once more. The sky burned with fire and shadows. Alien dreadnoughts, massive warships the size of cities, entered orbit above the dead planet. Their weapons glowed with cold light, ready to strike. Captain Elias Ward stood on the surface, surrounded by ancient ruins that now blazed with living energy. The air shimmered with heat and power. The once lifeless planet pulsed like a giant heart, its every beat echoing through the ground. Vega's voice broke through the static. "Commander, incoming fleet count, over 500 ships. They've formed an attack perimeter. You can't face them all." Elias looked up. His eyes glowed faintly blue, the same color as the ruins. "We'll see." He could feel everything now, the ruins, the structures, the massive network beneath the ground. It was all alive, all connected to him. He wasn't just standing on the planet anymore, he was part of it. When the first dreadnought fired, the blast streaked through the clouds, a beam strong enough to vaporize a city. It struck the planet directly, and stopped. The ground flared bright gold as a massive energy barrier formed around the ruins. The impact echoed like thunder, but the barrier held. The alien fleet fired again, hundreds of blasts raining down from orbit. But each shot only made the planet stronger. The barrier absorbed every strike, feeding its glowing veins with more power. Vega's voice was filled with awe. "The ruins are converting enemy fire into energy reserves. It's adapting faster than I can measure." Elias raised his hand. The ground trembled in response. From the desert around him, giant metallic towers rose, smooth, ancient, and glowing. Each one pulsed once, then unleashed beams of blue light into the sky. One after another, alien cruisers exploded. The battlefield became a storm of color and sound, ancient technology against alien power. But the aliens didn't retreat. They began deploying new weapons, orbital warheads, energy disruptors, and massive ships shaped like blades. Vega warned, "They're focusing fire on your location. If they break through." "They won't," Elias said, his voice calm but heavy. He closed his eyes and focused. Deep below the surface he could feel the core, the ancient heart of the planet. It pulsed faster, almost alive. Then he heard it again, the voice from the ruins. Soft, ancient, familiar. "Elias Ward, the weapon you carry was built for one purpose, to end a war. But if you use it fully, this world will die again." Elias breathed deeply. "If I don't, everything else will." The ground beneath him cracked open, revealing a glowing pit of light. From it rose the central construct. A massive being of pure energy, taller than mountains, its shape humanoid but shifting constantly. Its eyes glowed with human blue. Vega whispered, "The Guardian. It's awake." The being looked down at Elias. Its voice echoed like thunder and memory. "Child of Earth, command us." Elias pointed at the sky. "Protect this world." The Guardian lifted its hand, and the air itself split apart. A wave of energy erupted upward, striking the alien fleet. Ships shattered like glass. Engines failed. The entire orbit became chaos. But the dreadnoughts at the edge of the system powered up their main cannons, weapons that could pierce planets. Vega shouted, "They're charging superweapons. We can't hold that long." Elias clenched his fists. He could feel his heartbeat syncing with the planet's pulse. "Then we end it now." He stepped forward, standing on the glowing ruins. The energy from the sphere, now inside him, surged. The carvings beneath his feet changed, forming new symbols. The Guardian turned its massive gaze toward him. "If you do this, you cannot return." Elias nodded. "I already knew that." Then everything happened at once. The sky split open as the alien fleet fired their combined weapons. Beams of red light cascaded downward, each one enough to destroy continents. Elias raised his hands. The ruins glowed white-hot, the air rippling around him. The planet roared like a living thing, channeling all its energy into him. He shouted, "For humanity." A single burst of light exploded from the surface, so bright it blinded every sensor in the system. The beam shot through the atmosphere, tearing into the alien dreadnoughts, shattering their weapons, their hulls, their very shape. The fleet didn't just burn, it erased. Silence followed. Space went still. When the light faded, nothing remained above the planet. Only wreckage drifting like dust. Vega's voice was quiet. "Commander, you did it. The fleet is gone." But there was no reply. The ground trembled again, softly like a sigh. The glow of the ruins dimmed. The Guardian looked down at the place where Elias had stood, and bowed. "His essence joins the memory," it said. "As it was before. As it shall be again." In orbit, the last fragments of the alien armada drifted aimlessly. Across nearby star systems, their signals went silent. Word began to spread. A dead planet had awakened, and a human had commanded it. Weeks later, explorers from a distant human colony arrived, drawn by the strange energy readings. When they landed, they found the ruins calm and quiet, almost peaceful. At the center of the temple, carved into the stone, was a new set of words glowing faintly blue. He thought the planet was dead, until it remembered him. And below that, Elias Ward, the last voice of the first builders. The explorers looked around, silent. One of them whispered, "What happened here?" Vega's voice, faint but still alive in the ruins, answered softly. The planet remembered its guardian. And now it remembers humanity. The wind swept through the ancient stones, carrying a low hum, almost like a heartbeat, still alive beneath the dust. The war was over. But the galaxy had just begun to remember who humans truly were. In the endless dark of space, Captain Elias Ward sat alone in the cockpit of his small ship, the Horizon. The stars outside looked like cold, distant eyes watching him. His mission was simple, or at least it was supposed to be. He was to explore a dead world, one marked long ago as uninhabitable. No atmosphere, no life, no hope. Just another forgotten rock drifting through the void. But something about this planet pulled him in. It was gray, covered in dust and silence. Its surface showed no movement, no cities, not even wind. Still, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something waited down there, something that wanted to be found. As his ship entered the thin orbit, the sensors began to flicker. At first, Elias thought it was just static interference. Old systems sometimes glitched this far from Earth. But then he saw it, patterns of faint energy rising from beneath the planet's crust. Not random signals. Not natural. They were shaped like words. He leaned closer to the screen, eyes wide. "That's impossible," he whispered. The readings formed letters, symbols repeating in a sequence, glowing faintly through the dust. They looked almost human. The ship's AI, a calm female voice named Iris, spoke softly. "Captain Ward, the energy signature is responding to us." Responding? Elias frowned. How can it respond if there's nothing alive down there? "Unknown, Captain. But it's forming your name." The cockpit went silent. For a moment, all he could hear was his own heartbeat. The screen now clearly displayed glowing energy lines forming two words, Elias Ward. He stared in disbelief. "That can't be real," he whispered. "It's just data noise." But deep inside he knew this was no error. Something beneath that dead world was calling him, and it knew who he was. Against all logic, Elias decided to land. As his ship broke through the dusty clouds, the planet's surface came into view. Mountains of ash. Empty valleys. Ruins half buried under centuries of silence. There were no signs of life, no cities, no movement, only ancient stone structures scattered like bones of something long dead. The Horizon landed with a soft thud. The air outside was still and dry. Elias stepped out, his boots sinking slightly into the gray dust. His visor displayed oxygen at near zero, so he relied on his suit. But what caught his attention were the ruins. Massive blocks of stone covered in strange markings carved deep and wide. They looked old, older than human civilization itself. He walked slowly, his footsteps echoing in the silence. The air felt heavy, thick with a strange presence. He aimed his flashlight at the nearest wall. The carvings glimmered faintly, almost metallic. He brushed his glove across the surface, clearing away the dust. The carvings began to move. At first, they seemed to shift like shadows under the light, twisting and flowing as if the stone itself breathed. Then the shapes began to change, forming lines, letters, and finally, words. Elias froze. His breath caught inside his helmet. The symbols formed his own name. Elias Ward. The wall pulsed with dim light as if alive. His name glowed brighter and brighter, until it painted the whole ruin in a pale white hue. Elias stepped back, trembling. This isn't possible," he whispered. "How could these ruins know me?" Iris spoke through his headset again. "Captain, I am detecting a secondary energy surge below the surface. It matches old human technology, but predates any known colony." Elias blinked. "Human? But no one's ever been here." "Correct, Captain. And yet, this system recognizes your genetic signature." He felt his stomach twist. "Recognizes me? Like, it's waiting?" Before he could finish the sentence, the ground beneath him rumbled. Dust rose into the air. The stones trembled, shifting as cracks spread through the ruins. His suit's sensors blared warnings. Massive power activity was coming from below. Then the voice came. It was deep, mechanical, yet somehow human, like 1,000 echoes speaking in unison from the very bones of the planet. "Welcome back, Elias Ward." The words rolled through the ruins, shaking the ground and sending shivers through his spine. He turned in every direction, scanning for the source, but the voice seemed to come from everywhere, and nowhere. His breathing quickened. "Who are you?" he shouted. "How do you know my name?" No answer. Only a slow, deep hum rising from below the earth, as if the planet itself was awakening after a long, dreamless sleep. The carvings around him shifted again. This time they formed symbols, circles, lines, patterns that looked like maps. He recorded them quickly, but they kept changing faster than his scanners could process. "Captain," Iris said urgently, "the planet's energy core is activating. It's like a network, millions of signals connecting underground." Elias stared at the glowing ground beneath his feet. "It's alive," he said softly. "The whole planet is alive." Then the voice spoke again, colder this time, and filled with something that felt almost like emotion. "The war was never over, and now you have returned." Elias' eyes widened. "What war? What are you talking about?" But before he could move, the ground split open beside him, revealing stairs that descended into a dark tunnel glowing with blue light. The dust swirled around his boots as he stared down into the unknown. He could feel something pulling him toward it, like gravity, like destiny. He took a deep breath. "All right," he whispered. "Let's find out who's been waiting for me." And with that, Captain Elias Ward stepped into the darkness below, as the ruins sealed behind him and the planet whispered softly through the silence of space. "Welcome home."